welcome to Lesson 5 in Module 4, where we're going to talk about location targeting. And this is one of my favourite modules because we get to have some fun and do some cool stuff and some pretty sneaky stuff that will make your ad campaigns that much more effective. And the things that we're going to cover in this section and the later section when we talk about keywords will give you some targeting power that 99% of advertisers will never even know about and will be wasting money where you are not wasting money. So, before we dive into that, recall last lesson, we looked at device targeting. And we took the options as to whether to use mobile, not to use mobile, whether to increase our bids or decrease, depending on the nature of our businesses. Now we're going to have a look at something similar for locations. And we've got some really cool options here. So, one of the first things that we need to consider about location targeting is a sneaky little option that Google has in the settings tab that we're going to look at, that by default will give you less than ideal results. And it's a default that, again, it's hidden away. Nobody really talks about it, but it will negatively impact your results in most cases. So here's the deal. Google in its location targeting gives you two options. You can target users who are in a location or searching for a location. Let me give you an example. If you're in Boston, Massachusetts, and you were doing a local search for, I don't know, a plumber, you would be picked up on a user in Boston, Massachusetts, if that was the targeting that was set. However, you might be out of town and looking for a plumber in Boston for a friend. In that case, you are searching for Boston, Massachusetts, but you are not in. And by default, Google will show your ads to users who are in the location or searching for it. That is, in most cases, not the best option for most campaigns. The reason being that you will tend to find there is always a proportion of people out there on the internet who are making some pretty random searches and showing your ads. If you use that option, you will, even if you've got your targeting set to one city, you will find international traffic and out-of-state traffic hitting your ad campaign, because it's the people searching for, and they may be searching for the keywords you're targeting on a completely different context, but your ad still shows up. So for most local businesses where you have a physical place or a physical area that you can service, take the second option, which is users in. Now, if you're worried that that means you're going to miss out-of-towners, if out-of-towners are relevant to your business, even in a small way, there is a way that in the keyword section of this training, we're going to get you past that so you can have the best of both worlds. You can pick up the out-of-towners, but you can focus your campaign on the people who are there and are most likely to buy. That will make you a notable saving on your ad spend, and it's something most advertisers don't know. Now, what you also don't know probably is that you can do negative locations. So you can say, I want to target an area except for, and you can put an exclusion in the middle of that area. I'm going to show you how we do that on the interface in a few minutes. Now, we have a really good number of location targeting options in Google. We can target a radius around a point. So Google will draw a circle around a radius, and that's it. We can search by zip or by postcode, by town, city, state, county, country, the whole world. Point of note, when it's a radius, it's not an exact radius. It's not an exact zip or an exact town. There is no magic line where if a user stands on one side of it, they don't see your ad, and on another side of it, they do. It's approximated based on IP addresses, Wi-Fi networks, and a variety of data that Google pull together to estimate where they think you are doing the search from. So this isn't a laser targeting. It's pretty close. I mean, we can target very granularly, but it is not perfect. So, if your phone rings from somebody who you expect to be slightly on the other side of the line, that's why. You can also target multiple locations. So don't think that within a campaign you have to have one campaign for one town, one for another, and so on. You might want to for other reasons, but for location targeting, you can have multiple locations. They can overlap. We can use multiple different targeting methods, and we can use negatives, these exclusions. And as with devices, we can use location to increase or decrease our bids. We can't go 100% lower. We can't turn off. We'd use an exclude instead. But why would you want to do this? Let's think about it. If you're a dental office and you know that you potentially get patients from a 10-mile radius, but that most of them come within 5 miles of your office, you would probably want to bid more for a 5-mile radius than a 10-mile. So you set up 2 areas, increase the bid on the 5-mile or decrease it on the 10-mile. That way, you're prioritising your spend onto the most likely areas to become a prospect. Now, something related to location, but not specifically identical, is language. By default, all languages are selected. If you have a dominant language in your area and you just want to focus on that, then you can set it. In most cases, English, Spanish is a great way to do it. In case you're wondering what determines what language is, Google uses a variety of things, from person's settings if they've got a Google account and they're logged in, from the search term they've used, and from their browser history. Google will work out what language a user is using and show you the right results for it. So your choice, you know your customer base, you know what type of customers you're attracting. So let's have a look. Let's come into an account and take a look at this. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is come to my All Settings tab, scroll down to Locations, and you can see here this Location Options Advanced. Initially, it's got target set to people in my targeted location. So we can hear people in searching for or who show interest in. That is the default. I've changed this already. I do not recommend that you use that for most local businesses. Put people in my targeted location. Even if you're a national advertiser and you're going whole countrywide, go for people in. Otherwise, you will get overseas traffic. So I can save that. And again, you can exclude people specifically on a similar basis. What we're going to do is leave that set as it is, and we're going to look at location targeting separately. So let's have a look. So if we go to targeted locations and we click on edit, I'm going to remove that national targeting. So you can see how we do this. And we're going to go to advanced search. Now this is where it gets really powerful. So I'm going to put in Boston, Massachusetts, and I'm going to add that as a thing. So that's using a city targeting. So if this is my map of Boston, I've chosen a city target, and that's great. Let's imagine I want to remove Brookline. For whatever reason, I don't service Brookline. That's not an area I'm interested in. All I do is put in Brookline and click on exclude. And it's excluded it. In this case, there's overlap, so it doesn't really make a lot of sense. But let's have a look at Dorchester. If I exclude Dorchester, there we go. I've excluded the Dorchester area from my campaign. I could, though, if I wanted to, also say, well, actually, I service Arlington as well, but close to Arlington. So I'm going to do a radius around Arlington. See if Arlington comes up. Change it to a 10-mile radius. You can change this radius up or down, use miles or kilometres, whichever you prefer. Arlington, Washington. That's not the one that I want. Let's get rid of that. Let's try Somerville instead. See if that works better. So you can see, sometimes this won't always work, but you get the idea. There we go, Somerville. Now my 10-mile radius is clearly far too big, so I'll make it a 5-mile radius. Overlaps a bit, but gives me this area. Yep, that's fine. I'll take that, and I'll add that. So now I've got my targeting. You can see I've got a combination of a radius, a city, and an exclusion. And I'll save that. And they're all the flexible options that you've got. So Play around with that. It can, depending how you target, affect prices. So one thing we can try in some cases, if we find a radius is expensive, we can switch to a city. If a city is expensive, we can just adjust to a radius. Doesn't always make a difference, doesn't always make the same difference, but it's worth bearing in mind depending on the competition in your area. So with that said, exercise, get location targeting set up in your account as appropriate for your campaigns. Give that some thought. Let's come up with the ideas that are going to be right to get you the best results. Bye for now.